guys. I was just practicing my bob walk, but we're good now. All right, here we go. Let's answer this question here. On a coordinate grid, segment AB has endpoint B at 24,16 and midpoint. The midpoint of segment AB is P, 4, -3. What is the y-coordinate of point A? So the first thing you want to do, you want to focus on what the question is asking. So it's asking for the y-coordinate of point A. Oof, coordinate. Woo! Who wrote that? All right, here we go. Let's look at what we're given in the problem. AB has endpoint B and midpoint P. Okay, so we're given the endpoint and the midpoint, so obviously they are looking for the second endpoint. Now there are actually two methods to solving for the second endpoint of a line segment. First method I'm going to show you involves drawing a line segment called AB with a midpoint of B. All right? Make sure you put the locations of these points that you know. B is at 24, 16, and P is at 4, -3, and we are looking for the second endpoint, specifically the y-coordinate of the second endpoint. Now, since we're just looking for the y-coordinate of point A, what we can do is focus on the y-coordinate of the first endpoint, y-coordinate of the midpoint, in order to find the y-coordinate of the second endpoint. So what you do, you think about what does it take to get me from the y-coordinate of my first endpoint to the y-coordinate of my midpoint. So to get from 16 to -3. Obviously, I'm getting less. By how much, though? That's what you need to think. So what do I take away from 16 to get -3? Well, I subtract 19. So in order to get from the midpoint to the second endpoint, I need to do the same exact thing. So I take -3 and I subtract 19 again, and I get -22. Now the reason that makes sense is if I'm going halfway, and in order to go halfway I subtract -19. Well, that means to go the whole way I need to subtract -19 again from the midpoint this time, and I get -22. That is the y-coordinate of point A. Now if you want to get extra practice, you can find the x-coordinate of point A, and it's the same process, except this time you focus on the x-coordinates. Okay? So first think to yourself, what does it take to get from my first endpoint to the midpoint? To get from 24 to 4, I need to subtract 20. So I need to do the same exact thing, subtract 20, to get from 4 to the x-coordinate of my second endpoint. So 4 minus 20 will give me -16. So that was extra practice. It's not going to be included in our answer, but it's just there for practice. So our answer is -22. If you didn't like this method, there's also a second method involving the formula, which is it's kind of a variation of the midpoint formula. So since we're looking for the y-coordinate of my second endpoint, I'm looking for y2. The way I find y2 is by this formula. 2 times ym minus y1. So in order to use any formula that involves y sub something or x sub something, like y sub 1, y sub 2, and y sub m, what you need to do is you need to label your points that they gave you. So they gave you x1, y1, that's the endpoint, that's why it's x1, y1. And they gave you the midpoint, so this is xm for midpoint, ym. Alright, so you need to plug these values into the equation and then solve for y2. So y2 equals 2 times ym. Ym is -3, so I plug it in. 2 times -3 minus y1, which is 16. And follow order of operations. 2 times -3 gives me -6. Then I drop down to -16 because I did not touch it. Then y2 equals -6 minus 16 will give me -22, which is the same answer that we got with the first method. All right, perfect. Do you have any questions? Good. No questions. Awesome.